I had to process this energy for a bit, but I had somebody feels like a part of themselves has passed on, or a part of themselves has has been buried or something. I've been seeing a lot of in my vision I was seeing double, like two people wearing the same, or okay, it was like a car scene where I was in the back seat and this masculine was in the front seat. We were wearing the same outfit, the same tuxedo shirt type-esque thing, and it was so, because like it was like they were trying to steer me somewhere else, like in a different direction, but ultimately I had a a miniature cannon, and I ended up using it, and the car spun out of control, and I had to kind of drag them into this wooded area, and I saw two orange cats, which orange cats are usually male. Then there was and then there was then it skipped to a scene of me being at my grandparents' house, and oh, well, I was at my grandparents' house, and I was speaking to them about the whole thing, and they kind of just looked at each other and just didn't necessarily say anything. Wait, okay, and then I ended up going to the mall with some friends, to get my mind off of it or whatever, and then we were in the elevator. We were and we started tumbling around, and the elevator started going downwards, but me and my friends held hands, just kind of started floating upwards as the elevator was going down. And then then the scene took us to this hotel room-esque thing, and we were gonna be staying there, and and I saw two females in the mirror doing skincare. They also looked similar. This is I believe this is the end of the twin flame journey, where you start to feel the remnants of that person. It's a very rare experience. I don't think, well, I don't know. people say they're rare. I don't know. I know I wasn't really expecting to be on that journey, but it definitely sparked up that dynamics definitely brought up some unhealed wounds that I thought I had already mastered before, but turns out I hadn't. But that's the whole point of the journey, is to recognize them and heal them. There was a lot of I was going through a lot emotionally. The situation I was in with my parents didn't help, and you know, with him, it was kind of my twin flame. It was kind of the same way, but a bit more intense. There I thought I had healed in terms of like my depression. I thought I had mastered self-love by being alone, which that is not how, you know, that works, you know. Especially see, okay, when I started first interacting with Lilith's energy, I did not fully invoke her yet, but I had wanted to work and embrace my shadow self. So I had listened to her dark feminine energy and whatnot, and in the middle of that, I kid you not, they kept texting me, like in the middle of it. I kept hearing ding, 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 like, you know, it was like I was being interrupted each time by this person. And Lilith is all about self-love and embracing your shadow. So the fact that, you know, I didn't take it as them interrupting me, because, you know, I felt such a strong connection to this person. But they, but no, what she was trying to emphasize at the time was like, no, like that they're in the way. And it's a good thing that I didn't, you know, invoke her during that time, because it's that's like I said, they were in the way. ultimately wasn't her who told me who was trying to emphasize on the fact that, you know, I needed to walk away. It was Hecate who told me, or who put more emphasis on the fact that no, I need to release myself. I don't know why people put emphasis on, or try to say, like, you know, you shouldn't speak about the twin flame connection, or like you shouldn't try to consult anybody else about the dynamic, because, you know, it'll get in the way of like the journey and like what you're supposed to go through. And, you know, maybe it's due to the fact that there are lessons that need to be learned within the connection, or like, you know, that it won't be something that most people agree with. I thought it was, you know, oh, they're gonna try to like break you two up, which, you know, rightfully so, it can get toxic, because, you know, nobody likes a reflection of what they need to work on, or what they need to you know, I've been around people who, you know, if I were to tell them, you know, you need to love yourself or something like that, they would have gone ballistic. Not only did it help me, you know, heal and make me stronger and awaken me to my path, but it also reflected other people that I needed to get rid of. There was one specific person who would constantly say things like, similar to what my mother would say, you're weak, you can't do things by yourself, and whatnot, like, you know, it. But ultimately, that's how they felt about themselves. They were not as strong as they presented themselves to be at all. A lot of talk behind my back. Them wanting to remain cool with everyone, but then have secret animosity towards me. This and the person that I was closer to, or my twin flame, they were similar to a father figure in my life. You know, they had advocated for me during these times of, like, you know, where you know, somebody else may have been tripping out about me, but ultimately they would want the person who was advocating for me to stop advocating for me, to constantly be in their favor. And this was definitely where the wounded masculine and wounded feminine came in, where, you know, putting your worth in someone else, and that's just not how life should go. Only you can determine, you know, what you deserve, and Most High as well, you know. They can definitely determine that if we ourselves are not aware. But I was put in dynamics where I felt like I was forced to settle, which was blocking a lot of blessings for me. And it's come to the point where nobody can tell me anything, because I've experienced these things to where it transcends time and space. Like, you can't touch what I've been through. The wounded masculine, you know, feeling like I have no defense, or feeling defenseless. That's been shot down. Feeling like I'll never have that deep connection with other feminine energies. That's also been struck down as well. That tumbled its way down as well. If your twin flame connection is toxic, leaving is a bit harder emotionally than you think, but it'll get your reality will start to change. Because you ignited, because you chose to heal. I like to, or in a more logical sense, I like to see it as the anxious and avoidant attachment, where you know the anxious one is, you know, wanting to give and, like, you know, but they're not receiving anything, and the avoidant isn't ready to receive either. So, you know, what can they give in return? So ultimately, usually the anxious attached one, or the more feminine one, I'd say, is the one that detaches, and once they leave, it's, you know, ultimately it's too late. Once the avoidant awakens, it's too late. The anxious one has already moved on. And because they put that energy into themselves. I haven't yet heard anything about the dynamic turning into a soul connection. If yours has, let me know. But yeah, you know. But yeah, I think that's all I have for today. My Instagram, and which my threads is linked in as well, should be in the description box below, and I'll see you guys Thursday.